Does the film Grease make you feel that life is bright, joyful, and full of hope? That is only the story told on screen. In reality, the last 47 years have been a journey full of suffering for many of the actors. From the once proud pink ladies to the arrogant T-birds, they all experienced romantic disappointments that the public did not yet know about. And the truth of who they are in 2025 will leave you speechless. Olivia Newton-John as Sandy Olsen. Olivia Newton-John was born on September 26, 1948, in Cambridge, England. She was 30 years old when she played Sandy Olsen, the charming girl who became an unforgettable sex symbol in the 1978 film Grease. This role made her a global phenomenon, but her life off-screen took a dark and tragic turn. Her seemingly peaceful marriage to Matt Lattanzi quickly fell apart under the pressure of fame and constant work demands. After the divorce, Olivia placed her hope in Patrick McDermott, the only man who gave her a sense of security, until the day he disappeared without a trace at sea. No body, no goodbye. Only a devastating emptiness that shattered Olivia, while her daughter Chloe fell into addiction. Cancer touched Olivia in 1992 and returned multiple times, each time with greater force. When the disease metastasized to her bones in 2017, she spent the final years of her life in terrible pain, relying on cannabis oil to sleep even a few hours each night. Despite the suffering, she continued to sing, smile, and support her daughter. Olivia Newton-John died on August 8, 2022, at the age of 73 at her ranch in the Santa Ynez Valley. Her net worth is estimated at $60 million, most of which goes to her own cancer research foundation, the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Research and Healthcare Center. John Travolta. As Danny Zuko. John Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in Englewood, New Jersey. At the age of 24, he embodied the character of Danny Zuko, the rebellious and charming youth who conquered the screen in the 1978 film Grease. But behind those legendary dance moves lay a life full of losses that no one should experience. Travolta's first love, actress Diana Hyland, died in his arms from cancer, leaving an emotional scar that never healed. His later marriage to Kelly Preston brought joy but also persistent pain. Their son, Jet, who suffered from severe autism, died at the age of 16 after a violent seizure. This loss devastated them, forcing them into couples therapy while the media simultaneously attacked Travolta with accusations and scandals, isolating him even further. Each tragedy only deepened his alienation. And when Kelly Preston died of breast cancer in 2020, Travolta again stood by the side of the woman he loved, reliving the nightmare of 1977. Only this time, he had to be strong for his two surviving children. He continued acting, seeking roles ranging from his glory in Saturday Night Fever to his impressive comeback in Pulp Fiction. In 2025, at 71 years old, John Travolta leads a quiet life in Florida, raising his children and occasionally dedicating himself to small projects to avoid a sense of emptiness. His private jet, extensive real estate, and decades of hard work have brought him a net worth estimated at approximately $250 million. Stockard Channing as Betty Rizzo. Stockard Channing was born on February 13, 1944, in Manhattan, New York. She was 33 years old when she took on the role of Betty Rizzo, the cynical and brave leader of the Pink Ladies, whose emotional scars reflected her strength in the 1978 film Grease. Rizzo's tough on-screen persona was merely a mask hiding the turbulent reality of Stockard's private life. She went through 4 marriages, all ending in divorce, including one that lasted only 3 days. She had no children or family to return to. Although her theater and television career flourished, she admitted to suffering from severe depression, haunted by aging and the cruel treatment of women in Hollywood. Nevertheless, she continued to deliver classic roles, from 6 Degrees of Separation to The West Wing. After turning 50, Stockard lived in a state of both strength and exhaustion. Her long-term relationship with partner Daniel Gillum, lasting over 2 decades, ended with his death in 2014, leaving her alone once again. In 2025, at the age of 81, Stockard Channing lives mainly in London, occasionally appearing in selected plays, which remains the only thing keeping her from fading away. Her net worth is estimated at about $15 million, enough to live comfortably, but never enough to fill the void left by years of suffering. Eve Arden as Principal McGee. Eve. Arden was born on April 30, 1908, in Mill Valley, California. She was 70 years old when she played Principal McGee, the strict but charming principal, in the 1978 film Grease. For younger audiences, it was a memorable role. But for those who knew Arden from the 40s and 50s, it was merely the final chapter of a 60-year career shrouded in deep sadness. Her first marriage ended in great suffering, but she eventually found true peace with actor Brooks West, her partner who was a source of comfort and unwavering support, helping her overcome the difficulties of Hollywood. Their happiness did not last long. However, West died suddenly of a brain hemorrhage, leaving Arden alone in an empty house. After his death, she fell into a state of mental exhaustion, suffering from insomnia, loss of appetite, and a gradual loss of the will to go on. Colorectal cancer arrived like a silent death sentence. It caused her persistent pain, drained her energy, and made it impossible for her to stand on her feet for more than a few minutes. The cancer spread quickly, leading to heart failure and stripping her body of the ability to fight the disease. Eve Arden died on November 12, 1990, at the age of 82 from heart failure and complications from terminal colorectal cancer. She was buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery. At the time of her death, her net worth was only a few $1 million, a modest sum compared to her brilliant career, but a reminder that she did not live for money, but for the spotlight that surrounded her. Dee Khan is Frenchie. Dee Khan was born on July 13, 1951, in New York. She appeared in Grease in 1978, at the age of 26, and portrayed Frenchie, the sweet and dreamy pink-haired girl who attended beauty school and brought a rare innocence to the film. However, Dee's life after leaving the spotlight was not always a bed of roses. Her first marriage ended in silence, leaving her with a sense of failure and deep uncertainty about her future. When she married composer David Shire, she believed she had finally found lasting stability. However, life took a painful turn when her son, Daniel, was diagnosed with severe autism. For years, Dee constantly traveled between film sets, hospitals, and therapy centers. She later admitted that she often burst into tears in dressing rooms, unsure if she was strong enough to be both a mother and an actress. Anxiety for her son led Dee to scale back her career, turning down large projects to be by Daniel's side. Despite this, the pressure motivated her to work even harder in the roles she did take, and in the charitable work she supported. Dee became one of the most prominent advocates in the fight for autism awareness. In 2025, at the age of 74, Dee Khan continues her philanthropic activities, occasionally taking small acting roles and living peacefully with her husband. Her net worth is estimated at about $7 million, allowing her to live comfortably and spend the rest of her life with her family and children, sharing the journey with her son, Sid Caesar, as Coach Calhoun. Sid Caesar was born on September 8, 1922, in Yonkers, New York. At the age of 55, he appeared in the 1978 film Grease as Coach Calhoun, the tough but incredibly funny and explosive gym teacher, a small role played by one of the greatest legends of American comedy. Few could imagine that behind that tough exterior lay the darkest 2 decades of his life. For years, Sid plunged into alcoholism and heavy sedatives, to the point where he frequently stood by the window, thinking about suicide just to escape the torment that haunted him. The massive fame of Your Show of Shows, which earned him the nickname the Charlie Chaplin of television, it also came with enormous pressure that nearly destroyed him. It affected his marriage, terrified his children, and turned his home into a battlefield every time he lost control. His 20-year addiction cost him valuable opportunities, lasting friendships, and what should have been his best years. But Hollywood will never forget the year 1978, the year he appeared on the set of Grease, because Sid Caesar finally conquered his addiction. When audiences saw him shouting, laughing loudly, and barking orders on screen, no one realized that for the first time in 2 decades, he was doing so in a state of full mental clarity. Sid Caesar died on February 12, 2014, at his home in Beverly Hills, at the age of 91, at peace after a lifetime of struggling with inner demons. He was buried at Mount Sinai Memorial Park. Sid did not leave behind a vast fortune, but only a legacy as a legend, something too precious to be measured in money. Michael Tucci as Sonny. Michael Tucci was born on April 15, 1946, in New York. At the age of 32, he starred in the 1978 film Grease, playing Sonny, the fast-talking T-Bird who is always telling jokes but hides more secrets than viewers realize. Behind his bravado lies a life full of losses. His brother died of cancer, leaving a void that Michael never filled. A painful divorce plunged him into a long period of feeling like he didn't fit in. After Grease, Michael continued acting, but always in small roles. From the show Diagnosis Murder to small parts in numerous television series, he spent decades working behind the scenes, trying to reinvent himself while teaching theater at a high school. At one point, he completely abandoned his acting career, interning at a law firm and eventually becoming an assistant prosecutor. But he later admitted he was too sensitive for such a cold profession. He ditched the black suit and returned to the stage, considering it his last lifeline. In 2025, at the age of 79, Michael Tucci leads a more stable and peaceful life, earning a living as a teacher and occasionally taking small roles on television. He no longer seeks the spotlight. Now, he only desires peace after years of emotional turmoil. His net worth is about $5 million, which is not a great fortune in Hollywood, but enough to live comfortably and cherish the memories of Sonny. Barry Pearl as Duty. Barry Pearl was born on March 29, 1950, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He joined the cast of the musical Grease in 1978, at the age of 28, playing Duty, the clumsy and naive T-Bird who charms the audience with his magic transformations. This role, though short and small, was the brightest moment in Barry's film career. His life was not marked by the catastrophic failures of many of his co-stars, but rather by a quiet solitude. The solitude of someone who spent decades outside the Hollywood spotlight. After Grease, he never became a star again and was never chased by paparazzi. He continued working in theater, teaching acting, and taking small roles on television. However, Barry never gave up. He persevered in theater, teaching acting to people with disabilities and participating in short concert tours to remind himself that he was still valuable. In 2025, at the age of 75, Barry Pearl lives quietly with his current wife, continuing to teach and engage in artistic activities in the local community. He is not wealthy, but with a net worth estimated at about $3 million, he lives comfortably and happily. Annette Charles as Cha-Cha Di Gregorio. Annette Charles was born on March 5, 1948, in Los Angeles. At the age of 30, she landed the role in the 1978 film Grease as Cha-Cha Di Gregorio, the bold dancer who snatches Danny from the dance floor, creating one of the most daring and unforgettable moments in the movie. But behind the dance floor lights was a life the public never saw. Annette appeared in only a few sporadic supporting roles before disappearing from Hollywood when she realized the spotlight was not for her. While her colleagues chased fleeting fame, she quietly went back to school, finished her studies, and decided to become a teacher. Annette's suffering began during the filming of Grease. In the Thunder Road scene, she endured the pain of an ectopic pregnancy. With an indomitable will, she persevered, finished the scene, and was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. Life after that was not easy for her. An average marriage, a stagnant career, and deteriorating health, even though she never smoked. Annette Charles died in Los Angeles on August 3, 2011, at the age of 63, just a year after the death of her Grease co-star Jeff Conaway. Doctors stated that cancer was quietly destroying her body, but loved ones said she had been feeling tired for some time. She died peacefully, leaving behind an estate estimated at just $500,000, a meager sum for someone who once set the dance floors on fire. Joan Blondell as Vi. Joan Blondell was born on August 30, 1906, in New York. She was 71 years old when she played Vi, the older waitress at the Frosty Palace Diner in Greece in 1978. On screen, in the dim light of the diner, she appeared only briefly, but her eyes, full of longing and loneliness, perfectly reflected a life full of suffering. All three of Joan's marriages ended in divorce. Her second husband, Dick Powell, the man she loved most, left her for Shirley Temple, a wound that haunted her for years. When she finally found hope with Mike Todd, she found herself trapped in a cycle of violence, arguments, and extravagance that exhausted her mentally and financially. She believed her suffering ended after the divorce, but years later she learned that Todd died in a plane crash, leaving Joan tormented by grief and a sense of abandonment. In the final years of her life, Joan continued acting, still smiling and scrupulously applying makeup before the cameras. However, beneath the makeup was a body ravaged by fatal leukemia. Completing Grease and The Champ was her final personal mission to prove she could still maintain her strength. Joan Blondell died on December 25, 1979, at the age of 73, on Christmas Eve, in the arms of her children, after leukemia weakened her health. She was cremated and buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale. At the time of her death, she left behind only about $2 million, a small sum compared to her brilliant career.